following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another week of the Sling and Proffet podcast. As always, well, not as always, as when we're healthy, I guess. Sling and Proffet podcast. As always, I'm your host, Sling, Andrew Daly, joined by my co-host, the Prophet himself. Prophet, thanks for holding it down last week for me. You can still hear the leftovers in my voice that I still haven't fully cleared up from, but man, I was fighting a battle last week. I couldn't shake it, and I was glad you were able to pop on here and at least put something out for the fans. So thanks for holding it down. How was your week and your unexpected week off?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't a week off, pal. I mean, I'm busy on the campaign trail, trying to get my name out there. You know, it's hard needing people to do write-in votes. You know, but that's okay. I mean, if you may see here, it says now Prophet for president, not Willie. So we're rocking and rolling.
So you're running for president now? Is there something that you want to tell the people, or just that you're running for president?
No, I mean I'll tell them that, you know, I can dance the YMCA better than the one candidate, and I can switch my voices to the demographics better than the other candidates. A vote for me is a vote in the right direction.
Oh, well, I feel like I've heard that before, but nonetheless, there has been a lot happening. Obviously, we weren't able to go last week. So we're heading into week 7 now. So we should have dissected week 5 last week. We weren't able to do that. We will do week 6 tonight and talk about everything that was, and maybe we'll come back and circle back around, as they like to say in politics, and talk about some of the stuff that happened in the previous week. I know I want to talk about the Jets head coaching situation, because that's still in the news today. So we'll touch on that, but we got a lot.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, this week, picking the games for the games of the week for us to discuss, man, was pretty tough. There are some good games this week coming up.
Some good games this week, and we left out a bunch of college games that we didn't even talk about, because we got a great college slate up on Saturday too. You got Tennessee, Alabama. You got the big one with Texas, and who was it? Texas and Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of good games on the slate. Big weekend.
Great weekend for football.
Yeah, and I'm back in the booth this weekend for one of my final 2 games at Shippensburg, so I'm looking forward to that. Had a couple weeks off with some away games, and I'm back up there this week. Looking forward to being back in the booth and calling those games. Cool. So we're going to dive into it. We're going to dive into it. We're going to talk. Yeah, I'm trying. You know, I guess with experience, it'll keep going. But we're diving into this week. We got a job to do, Prophet. We got one focus in mind, and that's to deliver the best possible show that we can, week in and week out, to the people and to our avid listeners out there, the Sling and Proffet podcast.
Before we get started, let me say one thing. I don't know. We might be the first. We might be the first in the nation this year, but we had snow overnight here in Tennessee. I know, the West Coast lots of times gets it early out in the Idaho area and all. I don't know if they did or not, but yeah, we had snow here, 4 inches. Not here, but close.
Yeah. I saw that, actually, that you guys had some snow, but I think I remember like something crazy, like the end of August or something like that, seeing a snowfall in like Montana or North Dakota. I'll have to fact check myself there, but yeah, I think there's like you said, Idaho, North Dakota, all them states, man, they're bracing for snow season already. Not something I'm looking forward to. It's been nice and cool here. It's been in the low 60s, at nighttime it's getting down into the 30s, but we're going back up to 77 next week, so I'm not looking forward to that.
Us also. I took my air conditioners out today, but oh well.
Yeah, such is life. So we're moving on. We're going to talk about everything that's hot right now in sports, primarily football, obviously. So one of the big stories out there is Aiden Hutchinson, and for those of you who saw the injury, it doesn't need to be seen again. terrible injury. I think they said tibia, which is broken leg for those. I mean, I'm not trying to downplay anybody or make anybody feel not so smart, but broken leg, a tough bone to break, but he did it, and it was a very horrific injury, and we wish him the best and speedy recovery. But on the field, it matters a lot because Detroit has been playing really good football, and he is the heart and soul of that defense and that defensive front, and he's kind of a do-it-all kind of guy where you have to know where he is on the field at all times, and now he's not going to be in the lineup for at least the rest of the season. What kind of impact is this going to have, Prophet, do you think, on the Lions season? Are they going to, is it a big enough blow to where they have to be worried about, total collapse, or they just have to worry about filling a void here?
No, I think they're going to look. You can't just go out and replace an Aiden Hutchinson that easy. But I think they're going to be okay. They've got a few options. There's talks going around about they're already talking with Cleveland. They're talking with the Jets about Hassan Reddick. Cleveland, I'm not sure. Are they looking at Myles Garrett?
I've heard Garrett floated around at a couple teams, actually, the Eagles being one of them. But yeah, Cleveland, it is in sell mode. So yeah, I do think that Garrett is a possibility there.
And the Jets need to get something they got to do something with Reddick, and they'll be okay. They'll be okay.
Reddick hired Drew Rosenhaus, so I guess his agent dropped him or parted ways or whatever, and he's got Drew Rosenhaus now. So if anybody's going to get something done or something moving, Rosenhaus is going to get that done.
Right. Yeah, I had heard
that, he's lost millions of dollars so far in fines. Reddick has
fines, not getting paid. I'm hearing that the trade to Detroit is going to be a little tougher because of the condition of the trade for Reddick. That if they trade him to an NFC team, the Jets have to give the Eagles a second round pick now instead of a third round pick. So they're going to have to get that back, which I don't know. I think Reddick's still worth a second round pick at this point, especially when you have the kind of shape he's in either, Well, yeah, that's going to be key too, but they've got to do something, okay? And I think they'll get it done. What exactly, I don't know. But it can't be, some guy that's been out of football for 2 years that, used to be good. Right. They gotta do something, to replace it. Hell, their whole defensive line, I believe, has as many or a half a sack less than Hutchinson did this year so far. So
yeah, there's no doubting that he is a dynamic playmaker on that defense and one of the best defensive, if not, arguably the best defensive player in the league. So right. Huge blow for them. Hopefully he's able to make a full and complete recovery because, we would hate this to lose a talent like him, especially being so young, but hopefully he's able to recover and he'll be back ready to go next year. But talk about trades, big one today, Davante Adams reunited, and it feels so good. Adams traded to the Jets to be with his old pal, Aaron Rodgers. Listen, Davante Adams put up 4,000-yard receiving years in Green Bay. These guys have a huge history together, obviously. Multiple double-digit touchdown years together. It's no secret. I don't think that Rodgers has been too happy with the way things are going in New York. And maybe we're giving New York too much publicity, not us in general, not us in particular, but in general. Maybe we're giving them too much credit. Maybe they're not as good as everybody thought they were because they just haven't been getting it done for one way or another. And you asked me before last week when the coach got fired, who would go. And we talked about it actually. I figured that they weren't going to move on from the head coach, and they did. I guess they want to get it. I don't know what the deal is. Rodgers has got some kind of power over that program or something, but they get this trade done with Devontae Adams. He's going to come in. He's going to miraculously he's healed from his hamstring injury. They said he's going to be active and play this week. So they're gonna put him in the lineup immediately, and they're going to expect immediate impact from him. Does this increase the productivity of the Jets tremendously, or is this just a slight increase, or what do you think? How do you think this relationship is going to go, and how do you think that this team is going to respond to it?
Well, for starters, I love the headline "Reunited," and it feels so good. Good job, Sling. But now, look, this is a big move. I think the Jets obviously haven't been playing up to their capabilities. There, Rodgers looks defeated. Yes, he does, Larry. But he's got his buddy coming in now, and that could change his whole mentality, moving forward. Obviously, the odd man out here is going to be Mike Williams, and is there going to be enough passes to go around for Adams and Wilson both? I mean, Rodgers just started, getting a good rapport on the field with Wilson, the past few weeks, and now Adams is coming in. You hope that doesn't create issues there, and I don't think it will. But Lazard has been his security blanket. Now he's got his true security blanket back, and I think it's a good move for the Jets.
You got to think too, though. You mentioned, you don't think this is going to be a long-term detriment to Garrett Wilson and Rodgers, but you're talking about a year-to-year problem here, because you don't know if Rodgers is going to be done after this year, done after next year, how many more years this guy's going to play. Like, it just seems like the Jets are just trying to go all in while they can and try and get a Super Bowl run here, not knowing how long Rodgers is actually going to give them. Because, right. Who knows what happens after this year. He just might say, what, I'm done with this league. Like, he's not, like Larry said, he looks defeated. He's looked that way for a while. He's looked that way for a few years. He just doesn't, I don't think he enjoys being out there that much anymore. And, we'll see what happens the rest of the way out here. But I think in the back of the mind of the younger players on the Jets, they know that this is just something that they got to ride out, because they can't be happy. Garrett Wilson can't be happy, I mean, with the way things are going. But
well, we'll see. Okay, like I said, come Sunday, I mean, if Wilson gets 4 targets and Adams gets 14, yeah, Wilson's not going to be happy. But if they both get 8, they both get 9, and they win the game, yeah, they're both going to be happy. So
time will tell. See how it plays out. Like I said, Devontae Adams is supposed to be active this week. Should be in the lineup for the Jets.
The good thing here, though, too, is that these two guys know each other. It's like there's not going to be any introduction period where they may need a couple of weeks to start gelling and all. I mean, they played together, and I say that because we're going to talk about another situation real soon, and I'm done with this one.
Thank you. We're moving on. Sirianni. Is Sirianni a clown, like a lot of people are saying? And I say that because Damian Woody, one of the hosts on ESPN, I think the show's called Get Up or whatever it might be, Damian Woody came out and said Sirianni has projected clown behavior, acting like a clown. The guy comes off of his bye week, comes out with a completely shaved head, whatever, dude, like whatever you want to do. Like, it seems to be screaming attention seeking to me. If you want to ask me about it, at the end of the game, he's seen screaming at the fans, his own Eagles fans, admittedly, that, screaming back at them after the game, after you just beat the Browns by 4 points. So nothing to really be screaming at the fans, pounding your chest over. I guess a win is a win in the NFL, but listen, you skated by a Cleveland Browns team that's in desperation mode right now. It's not something to be writing home about there, Nicky boy. And then at the press conference, he's smug, he's arrogant, he's short, he gives these weird answers, and he's got his kids up on the stage with him. And he said, what other NFL coach would bring their kids up there in that situation? Now, I don't know. I don't know if he's the only one who's. I don't think he's. I've seen it done before, but you're coming off a bye week. You barely get past the Cleveland Browns. Your team is not playing well. You know that there's rumors out there that you're on the hot seat, and you're bringing you just got in a fight with your own fans, and you're bringing your kids up there as some kind of body armor. It seemed like to protect you or and he's like deflecting questions to his kids. The reporters are asking him questions, and he's asking his kid, well, did you like the crowd atmosphere? How was the crowd atmosphere? Was it loud in there? Blah blah blah. Like, dude, it was just stupid. It was dumb. He has since come out and apologized, saying that that's not how he should relay his emotions. But myself, and I would say probably 75 to 80% of the rest of the Philadelphia area, they're tired of this guy, man. They want this guy out. And I say from a coaching perspective, when you make yourself the center of attention on the team, you've created a distraction. You become a distraction to the team. You've taken the focus off the players and put the focus on yourself, which is a huge no-no. All right, and I think that's where we're at with it. Jeffrey Lurie does not like the clown and pony show, man. He doesn't like his team to be run like a circus. He doesn't like to have negative press out there. He doesn't like to be in the headlines for bad reasons. I'm surprised that this guy has made it as far as he has with this shtick. But yeah, that's all I got to say. I'd love to hear your opinion on the matter here.
Well, I think he's made it as far as he has only because of his record, the Eagles' record. Haven't made it to the Super Bowl. I don't know. I didn't see the kids in the press conference thing, but coaches and players, sometimes they bring their kids up on the stage after winning the Super Bowl, not after beating the Cleveland Browns, who can't score a freaking point offensively and looking as bad as they did in doing this. And my bigger thing is, why in the hell is he worrying about what's going on behind him during a football game? Unless it's directly behind him and it's his players. Why is he worrying about the fans booing what he's doing? Yeah.
Because he always has. And
that's what they pay their money for. They're allowed to boo. If they're not happy with the product that you're putting out on the field, they're allowed to boo you, Nick. Okay? To turn around and sit there and go a jaw jacking with fans, Philly fans, no less, jaw jacking with them because you won and they were booing you earlier. I mean, the guy is a clown. Yeah, a clown. Clown's probably being nice.
I'm just curious, like I said, and you mentioned his record. I'm just curious to see what happens if this team doesn't win. I find it hard to believe that he's going to be the coach next year. I don't know about they talk about Lurie's notorious for pretty much letting his coaches finish out seasons. He's not big on middle of the season firing, but be curious to see how this plays out over the next couple of weeks. They got the Giants here coming up. It's a huge game. Saquon returns to New York. We'll see, man. Giants are playing tough football. We'll talk about that game later, but yeah, I'm over. I've never really been on the Sirianni bus, and if I had one foot in the door, they could have closed the door and drug me down the friggin' road because I'm out on this guy, 100%.
Well, I mean, if the Eagles go on a losing streak this year, starting this week, like they did last year, I don't think there's any way that Laurie doesn't make a change before the end of the year. But I don't think that's going to happen either. I mean, their schedule's too easy.
Another trade, another big trade, offensive help for the Buffalo Bills, who's Josh Allen, who needs it. Amari Cooper traded from the Browns. We talked about the Browns being in sell mode. Cooper goes to the Browns, adding receiver help to Josh Allen. Yeah, I don't know. I've always been kind of, back and forth on Cooper, and everybody says how great he is, and I'm like, oh well, I don't know. I take it back to like fantasy. Like sometimes he's really good at fantasy, and sometimes he's not. But you look back the past few years, he's had productive years. He's had over 1,000 yards receiving 4 out of the last 5 years. 5 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns, 9 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns. So he's a productive receiver. He's been around a while. He's been in the league since 2015. So he's almost a 10-year vet. Be interesting to see how he fits in up in Buffalo. I guess Josh Allen could use the help at receiver, right? So it's going to be an upgrade for them no matter what. What is your thoughts on Amari Cooper coming to the Bills?
Well, I personally would have rather seen the Bills get the other Cleveland receiver, Jerry Jeudy. I mean, Amari Cooper, like you said, he's a 10-year player now, which means he's coming towards the end of his career. Not he ain't there yet, but he's had good seasons, yes, but he could have had great seasons if he catches balls thrown to him. That's been his big knock his whole career is that he drops too many passes. And he does. I mean, it just keeps on flashing in my head. Prescott throwing him a ball down the sideline, wide open, and boom, he drops the pass. Like I said, I would have rather seen Jeudy go up there, but they're getting a receiver. Buffalo's getting a receiver, and they desperately need one. And they're not going to be able to rely on that running game all the time. And he really doesn't have anybody to throw to. Yeah, now he's got somebody that can stretch the field, which could even actually open up the running game more for them. It's a good move for Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, doesn't hurt. There wasn't a whole lot there, right? After they lost Diggs, and I know you're not high on the Diggs train, but he, proven to be pretty valuable in Buffalo and now in Houston. So
I mean, hell, Allen had, I don't know what his touchdown total is this year, but it's not high from a passing standpoint. I mean, I think he might have as many rushing touchdowns as he does throwing.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't have the stats up in front of me, but like I said, automatic upgrade should help these guys in the immediate future. So we talked about it a little bit earlier. We talked about Salah getting fired, or Salah, or however you pronounce the name. But my question is did the Jets let this guy go too soon? I thought, from the outside looking in, I thought he was a pretty solid dude, pretty good coach. He kind of changed over the culture a little bit in New York and made this a respectable team that hasn't been talked about for years, but is now, constantly pretty much talked about. But yeah, so, obviously in the Monday Night Football segment, Bill Belichick had some words to offer, and he said, he had this to say. He said, "I'm not a big Jets fan, in case you didn't know that. Coach Saleh did a good job for that program. He brought in a culture of toughness and competitiveness. I thought Coach Saleh really did a good job with them. They're probably not that far away from winning, and that's kind of been the thing with the Jets. They've barely won over 30% in the last 10 years. And the owner being who he is, he's ready, fire, aim. And so Belichick going out there and standing up for Saleh. Obviously, we talked about it, and I don't know if you were serious or not, but you were saying that they're going to be singing and dancing and singing Kumbaya around the campfire, and you really thought that Rodgers and Saleh were going to hash this thing out and live happily ever after, and that did not turn out to be the case. Do you think that this was deserved? Like, if one of those guys had to go, I guess that it was going to be the head coach, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the way it always is. In this day and age, anyhow, they're not gonna get rid of the guy that they're paying millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to take them to the Super Bowl. They're going to get rid of the guy that ain't winning, ain't head coaching wins to get them to that Super Bowl. Woody Johnson, Woody Johnson's got a team that he thinks he can win now with, and he wants to win now. And Salah just didn't fit in there, I guess. I don't know. You don't. You said it before. You can only believe half of what you hear, or none of what you
Ha-
hear, and half
Not
of what
what
you
you hear
see, or
and half of
whatever.
what you see.
It's like after he got fired, Rogers is talking great about him. Like, yeah,
Of course
I
he is.
feel I feel bad for the guy. Okay, do you legitimately feel bad, or are you happy he's gone? You know, I mean,
Yeah,
he ended up.
I guess time will tell because they didn't win this one without him. So maybe with Rogers' new toy, he'll be able to finally be happy and find that inner peace that he's looking for, Mister Rogers. There. So
We'll see.
I don't know.
Time will tell.
As we always say, time will tell. And we're kind of changing gears here to our weekly pick'em pool sponsored by Advanced Sports. We had a quite a remarkable week here. I don't know if I've ever seen it done, to be honest with you, Prophet. We had 3 players go 14-0 on the week with their picks. We had the Mighty Pound Cake, who I'm not sure who that is. We had Lana, who I highly doubt that it's the professional wrestler that used to manage Rusev. And we had our old friend, the Peebs, Mr. Brandon, 14-0. We had a couple of people come in at 13-1, farm ball, and my wife Laura still hanging tough. And then, a couple guys and ladies coming in at 12-2, but 14-0, man, that's remarkable to get them all right. It almost makes you want to, hopefully they played them on a little parlay or something like that, because that's
Yeah, there you
pretty
go.
remarkable there. But yeah, we got big happenings in the Advanced Sports Weekly Pick'em Pool. Radimir's still hanging on to a 1-point lead at the top of the leaderboard here, but Talon has moved up the leaderboard. He's got 61 points with a 61-31 record. Farmball is in there, 60-32. Big Will 59-33. Lana 59-33. Laura 59-33. Listen, again, we talk about it being a marathon between first place and 13th place. Well, there's a little separation that's starting there. You got 9 games, but between first and 10th, there's 3 games. So, a tight
Anybody's ball
race.
game.
What's that?
It's anybody's ball game.
Anybody's ball game. So tight race. Make sure you're get your picks in. I'll keep sending out the emails, reminders for those. So make sure you keep getting those picks in, and we appreciate you playing. Again, that's the weekly pick'em pool sponsored by Advanced Sports. Now we're going to head into our weekly roundup segment, and it's been a while. And I'll say the one thing I did miss Profit last week was not being able to do the weekly roundup here. So let's just take it in here and enjoy.
I did miss this last week.
As always, our weekly roundup segment, we're talking about the games that happened this past week. The Eagles win in a snooze fest, 20-16. We've already touched on it a little bit, but we're going to dive into it a little bit deeper here. This game was 10 all at halftime. Eagles went up 13-10 to end the third quarter, and then the Browns just weren't able to close it out. Sloppy game. Only 244 yards of total offense for the Browns, 372 for the Eagles. Jalen Hurts goes 16-25 for 264 and 2 touchdowns. On the stat line, he had a nice little day.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley, not much of a production out of him this game. He goes 18-47 for 47 yards, no touchdowns. Deshaun Watson, 16 for 23 for $168, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Talk about a bad signing. You talk about if you're giving the most guaranteed money in NFL history to a quarterback, and it's Deshaun Watson, and they're ready to bench this guy or run him out of town or something like that. But what'd you take from this game, Prophet?
Well, I mean, snooze fest is definitely a good way of putting it. I think I would call it ho hum. Um, eh, I have a bad taste in my mouth about this game because the result shouldn't have been this way. And if it wasn't for that guy that I can't stand be, a quarterback, it wouldn't have been this way. How in the hell you take a sack with less than a minute left in the game on third down to make you need a 64-yard freaking field goal that gets blocked and ran in for a touchdown? That was the start of. He doesn't take. He falls on the ball. Yeah, I know he got blitzed, but still, he's a professional. He shouldn't have been. He shouldn't have taken a 10-yard sack that pushed them back so far. Then Elliott wouldn't have had to kick a line drive that would have gotten blocked, and we would have hit this damn game last week.
All right, so some personal vendetta, or some personal retribution in that game. We're
Yeah,
going
and
to
I'm
move
sure
on.
the profiteers out there, all that lost with me on that, are saying the same thing.
Yeah, the Ravens ruffle the skins. I don't know who wrote that headline, but I'm going to guess that it was you. Ravens ruffle the skins in game of the week showdown. Skins obviously being the Washington Commanders. This was a good game. This is a fun game to watch. I think the Commanders are one of the pleasant surprises of the season. I enjoy being able to watch them and Jaden Daniels and his progression. Jaden goes 24 or 35 for 269 and 2 touchdowns, had himself a nice day. Lamar Jackson, his counterpart, goes 20 of 26 for 323 with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. The Ravens put up 484 yards of total offense to the Commanders' 305 yards of total offense. The big standout here is that Jaden Daniels was also the leading rusher with 22 yards on the day. Running back for the Commanders, Brian Robinson, was out of the game. They weren't able to really get anything going on the ground. And then you look at Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry just continues his tremendous season. 24 rushes for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. Continues to light up the scoreboard. Proffet, what did you take from this one?
No, this was a fun game to watch. And, Robinson being out, it obviously it hurt them. Did it change the outcome of the game? I don't know. I mean, Baltimore's given up 55, 57 yards a game on the ground, so they weren't going to get a whole lot on the ground anyhow. But Daniel showed some oomph in this game. So did Lamar. I mean, it was a good game. It was a fun game to watch, and hopefully we get a couple more this week like this one.
Yeah, we're moving forward to our next game. It brings us to Detroit and Dallas. Man, what the heck is going on in Dallas? But Detroit decimates the Dallas and the Big D with all these alliterations. You don't understand how hard it is to say it on air, Proffet. So we're going to keep the alliterations aside. Anyway, we talked about the loss that Detroit suffered, obviously, with Hutchinson. But they were firing on all cylinders. They were hit for 492 yards, and Cowboys just weren't able to muster up anything on offense. 3 field goals. Dak Prescott going 17 of 33 for $178 with 2 interceptions. No rushing attack to speak of at all. Jared Goff going 18 of 25 for 315 and 3 touchdowns. David Montgomery going off to the tune of 80 yards on 12 carries for 2 touchdowns, and Jahmyr Gibbs goes for 60 on 12. I don't know. Is this how bad Dallas is, or is this how good Detroit is? I'm not sure. I think it's a little bit of both. Detroit's got a nice squad offensively and defensively, and Dallas is really struggling to find their balance here. But they got to do something quick, and if they don't, it might be time to start looking at that 2025 draft board. But what did you take from this one?
No, I agree with you, Sling. I think it's a little bit of both. Detroit being good, Dallas being bad. And Dallas being bad, that falls on the shoulders of the owner here. Okay, Dallas cannot run the ball. I mean, who in their right mind thinks that Ezekiel Elliott, bringing him back after a year of doing nothing in New England, was going to, be beneficial in any way, shape, or form? I mean, Jerry Jones created this mess. It's a bad thing when your offensive MVP is your kicker, and that guy is phenomenal. Aubrey, I mean, he's probably the best kicker in the league, right now.
Yeah.
And he is definitely the MVP of this team.
Yeah, I don't know. They've fallen off. They've fallen a long way, and even from last year, like what the heck is going on? And you come out, you pay CD, you pay Dak, and it's not paying off for you there, Jerry Jones. So he can't be happy with where his money's going.
But they have no running game, and they have nobody else to throw the ball to. I mean, Brandon Cooks, okay, at one point in his career, he was a good receiver. Tolbert's a nice young receiver, but they needed something. They needed help there, and they didn't bring it in, and they're paying for it. But, let's not forget that Micah and who the hell is the other guy? The other lineman was out too. It probably would only been 37-9 if they were in.
I'll tell you one team that's not suffering or struggling is the Buccaneers, and maybe you're ready to admit it now. I'm not sure, but Baker hangs half 100 on the Saints to the tune of 51-27. Baker goes off in this one, 594 yards of offense for these Buccaneers. Baker goes 24-36 for 325, 4 touchdowns. He does throw 3 picks. And, as we get down the road here, these more important ball games, we got to cut down on the turnovers. But he is a gunslinger by every stretch of the imagination. Tucker goes off 14 for 136 and a touchdown. Irving 14 for 81 and a touchdown. Counterpart Spencer Rattler, making his NFL starting debut, goes 22 of 40 for 243, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. And Kamara has a little bit of a lackluster game, going 13 for 40 and a touchdown. Doesn't do much in the pass game either, reception wise. But this was a fun one to watch if you're a Buccaneers fan. Also a fun one to watch if you enjoy watching Baker Mayfield just throw the ball all over the place. I don't know. Do you believe in the Buccaneers? Do you believe in Baker, or you just think the Saints are not that good? Or, I mean, you got to admit this guy's a good fantasy quarterback. Anybody who's going to throw the ball 50 times a game, it's got to be fantasy upside there.
Well, there's certainly fantasy upside for sure. Look, I gained some respect for Baker on Sunday. Weren't they down 27-23 at halftime? And you got them stats in front of you, the box score there. I think they were down at halftime.
Yeah, they were 27-23.
Yeah. And that one play in the fourth quarter where Baker was running with the ball and he got blasted, and he was woozy. I'm surprised he's not in the protocol, to be honest. He looked like he was out. But he got up and he wanted to get right back into the game. He had to go out for a play, which was 4th down, I believe. So he had a little bit of time, but he's a tough son of a gun. There's no doubt about it. Kudos to Rattler too, man. Rattler didn't do bad for his first start. I mean, I
wasn't high on him coming out of college at all, but
me either. But considering they lost Olave in the first quarter, and other than Shaheed, they don't have anybody to throw the ball to there. I mean, he had a pretty good game, but it was another fun game to watch, though.
Yeah, well, if you're into points and touchdowns and scoring, obviously, yeah, it's the game for you. This one had the Red Zone channel ablaze, so fun one to watch. And talking about Larry's boy here, the one over in London, you talk about another team that's in turmoil right now with the Jaguars, but Caleb throws for 4 touchdowns as the Bears walk all over the Jaguars. Caleb Williams goes 23 of 29 for 226, 4 touchdowns. All right. DeAndre Swift going 17 and 91 for a touchdown. And Trevor Lawrence going 23 for 35, 234 and 2 touchdowns. And no real rushing attack to speak of. They only racked up 68 total rushing yards. The Jaguars dropped to 1-5 on the season. The Bears go to 4-2. Are you a Caleb believer, or what do we got going on here?
You know what? I mean, I put this one up for Larry. Okay, Caleb had 4 touchdowns across the pond. That's great. Okay, but the son of a biscuit, the only bad pass he throws all day has to be to DJ Moore, who's wide open right before the end zone and would have just backed into the end zone, but he underthrows the ball by 5 yards. And of course, who had a anytime touchdown on DJ Moore this past week? Yeah, I did. So, I mean, Caleb he looked good. I will say that. It's the first time I really think he looked good this year. He had control of the game, not just from a stat standpoint, but the controlling of the game. I'm not even going to say, it was the Jags, because the Jags do suck, but, they're a football team.
They're pretty bad, though.
Yeah, they are.
Pretty bad.
They are.
I don't know how. Well, I guess because Peterson. I was going to say I don't know how Peterson still has a job, but it's because they're still playing in London again this week. I guess they can't fire him and make him fly home by himself. But that's going to be a long.
They're going to leave him in Liverpool after the Patriots beat them.
That's going to be a long flight home, I think, after this week for them playing in London again. So, but yeah, the Jaguars are a team that, man, you talk about having high hopes and not living up to them. That's the Jacksonville Jaguars in a nutshell. But hey, that'll wrap it up for this week's version of the weekly roundup. As always, the fastest 16 minutes in sports, talking about all the games that were, and we're moving right into our games of the week segment. A lot of big games, like you said, on the slate this week. Proffet, excited to be able to sit in front of the TV and watch 7 hours of commercial-free football on my Red Zone channel. I don't know if anybody else watches the Red Zone like I do, but, I guess when you're not attached to one team, you get to be able to do that, and you take joy in watching all the teams. So we're diving right into it, though. We're going to talk first about the Lions taking their trip to Minnesota. The Lions come in 2.5-point underdogs in this game. Over/under set at 50 points. Listen, it's always tough, or it's always interesting to see how a team bounces back from losing a key player to injury. All right, the Lions have been playing good football, with Hutchinson. They've been playing solid offense and solid defense. We talked about it earlier in the show. They got to find somebody to replace him, and it doesn't seem like that's going to happen this week. But listen, it's a big void to fill. The Vikings have been playing good football. I just, the Vikings at home in a big time rivalry game. I got the Vikings in this one. I think the Vikings are going to cover, and I see Justin Jefferson going off and having a big game here.
Yeah, well, I am agreeing with you here, Sling. Detroit's 1-4 their last 5 years going into Minnesota. Their only victory was last year when they beat Nick Mullins led team. I don't see it happening this year. I got Minnesota 34-30.
A high scoring affair, nonetheless. You think Goff is going to get it done for fantasy owners out? Let's talk about that later. We'll talk about that. You might have. I don't want to give away any of your secrets here. We got next game brings us to Green Bay, where we got the Houston Texans visiting the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love back in full swing. He's been back for a few weeks now. But listen, the Texans, they had a little sleeper a couple weeks ago, but Texans come in 3-point underdogs in this one. Over/under set at 47.5. CJ Stroud comes in looking looking to get continue his good season. And get your boy Diggs in the end zone again. I think I had Diggs as an anytime touchdown scorer last week. Didn't he score a touchdown last week?
Yeah.
I'm pretty. Yeah, I think I missed one friggin' leg of my touchdown parlay because Mike Evans didn't score, of all people. That pissed me off. But
51 points and
I know, right?
Evans don't score.
That's crazy. Listen, I don't know. I'm not real. Haven't been real impressed by what I've seen with the Packers so far. With Love coming back, I can't remember what did he do this week. We didn't talk about the game.
He only threw 4.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he had a
the first game he came back. He didn't do that good, right?
Yeah, I think
he was back 2 weeks
that
ago.
game too, but he had 3 picks that game.
Well, all right. Well, I got the. I'm going with the Texans in this one. I just, excuse me. I like the way Stroud's been playing, and yeah, I'm curious to see what they do on the road in hostile Green Bay. I think there's supposed to be a little bit of winter weather, so we'll see how that goes. I got the Texans in this one, though.
Yeah, well, you know what? Both of these teams, man, are loaded with offensive weapons. But Green Bay's got the Lambeau crowd. I'm going with the Pack 31-27.
31-27. You're killing me, Prophet. You're not giving any no insight or anything, huh? I'm trying to.
Well,
I'm looking up the next
couple of the games I have for that. So
okay, we're moving on then. So we got the Chiefs visiting the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers been struggling. It's tough when you lose, I guess, every single one of your players. And I'll tell you what, Ayuk, for all that holding out and all that crap that he did, he's not really he hasn't been getting it done. Not for me fantasy-wise anyway, at least. That's been pissing me off a little bit. But excuse me, Chiefs come in with a 5-0 record against the 49ers, 3-3. Where are we at here? Chiefs are over-under is 47. San Francisco's won as a point favorite in this game. What the hell is that about? Yeah, I'm taking the Chiefs here, and I'm taking them to. If I had $10,000, I'd lay it on the Chiefs here right now with the points.
I'll give you that bet.
Go ahead.
Oh, you
tell
done?
me what you got. Yeah, I'm done. I said I got the Chiefs in the points.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't see a whole lot of running in this game. Yeah, Mason may or may not play, and Kansas City's got Hunt coming in, and Mahomes is 4-0 against San Fran lifetime. 2 of them victories are in the Super Bowl, but right now, I think San Fran has a little more talent on both sides of the ball. I'm going with the Niners, 37-27.
Well, what if Taylor Swift's at the game?
37-14.
It's funny. We're moving on. We got the next game. It brings us to the Baltimore Ravens visiting my hot team of the year, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers come in 3.5-point underdogs in this one, which I think is probably pretty fair given the situation. Over under set at 48.5. But listen, my boy Baker, okay? And this is what I was looking for. I was looking for some stats. Baker Mayfield's throwing at a 71% completion percentage. He's got almost 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. I mean, this guy's lighting it up. You come back, you got Lamar's throwing at 67%, 10 touchdowns or 2 interceptions. But then you got to look at Derrick Henry, who's got almost 1,000 yards, and it's week going to be, well, he's got 700 yards, and it's going to be week 7. So, realistically speaking, I like the Ravens to win this one. I think, yeah, I mean, I got to keep it real. I think the Ravens win and cover here, unfortunately, but Baker's going to be forced to throw the ball, so we'll see how many times he slings it this time.
Well, both of these teams are good against the run. The Ravens are number one. I think Tampa Bay's 10th or 11th against the run, and that could force an aerial show. And both of these teams are terrible against the pass. But if it comes down to an aerial show here, Tampa Bay has many more weapons on the offensive side of the ball. I like Tampa Bay in this one, 31-30.
Oh, Tampa Bay. Proffet going with the upset here a little bit. Excuse me. And then that'll bring us to our next game, which is the Jug Handle-In game of the week.
Got wings.
Puts us with the Philadelphia Eagles taking a big visit to the New York Giants. Remember, Jug Handle-In located on Route 73 in Cinnaminson, New Jersey. Delicious, juicy, fresh chicken wings. They are good. 1-800, not 1-800, but I always want to say 1-800-GOT-WINGS, but it's just Jug Handle-In got wings. Yeah. Anyway, so I think that might be the phone number, actually. Maybe. I'll have to look that up. Anyway, Eagles come in 3-point favorites in this one, which I think is pretty telling. The over-under set at 43, which I could see this one. I could see this going under, but like I said, big return game for Saquon. He's going to have a chip on his shoulder. Curious to see how Sirianni's going to come out. Listen, I don't think that the Giants have been playing that bad of football. I think they've been playing pretty well. They had a decent game the other night, without having their number one receiver, Neighbors. Neighbors is coming back this week. They've been doing well. They've been holding their own. I don't think they're the laughing stock of the division. I don't think they're just getting rolled over by these teams. I'm gonna go Giants here in a slight upset, and I think that this is going to seal the deal for Nick Sirianni, and really he's going to lose the entire fan base here in Philadelphia. I got the New York Giants going over the Eagles in the Jug Handle-In game of the week. Proffet, what do you say?
I want to score from you. It is the Jug game.
Oh, that's right. It is. Score will be, let me go, Giants 24, Eagles 13.
24-13. Well, guess what? As far as the Sirianni thing goes, I hope you're right. Okay. The biggest story in this game is, Saquon going home, and his first game, I hope he goes up there and has a good game and shows, the Giants fans what they're missing out on, which they know already, but, just to rub it in a little bit. I got the Eagles in this one, 30-10. Okay. I agree with you on the under, not the score, but just so everybody knows, the Eagles have played 5 games this year, and I have not been on the right side of the spread with them yet. So hopefully
maybe a little foreshadowing there, huh?
Yeah. Hopefully I go 0-6 with them, because I really don't like them.
I don't either, and I don't know. I'm pulling for the Giants here, but hey, that's it. That's our Jug Handle-In game of the week. Remember to get your comments in. We'll put it out on social media. Comment the winner of the game with the correct score. You'll win a free gift certificate to the Jug Handle-In.
Yeah, and let Joe know I'll be up in December to cash my gift certificate that I'm going to get this week.
Okay, yeah. Well, you heard it, Jug. Proffet's coming up in December. He plans on hitting this game or at least one of them. We had a winner week 1. We haven't had a winner since. So just remember to comment on that winner game or game score. If you're correct, you'll get a free gift certificate to the Jug Handle-In. Got wings. And that'll wrap it up for our game of the week segment. Proffet, like I said, a lot of big time ball games on this weekend. Should be fun. Larry just told us that I saw, but I didn't add it to the what's happening. Russell Wilson named starting quarterback over Justin Fields this week for the Steelers, and Fields, all he did was go 4-2. I don't know the reasoning behind that or what's going on there, but if I'm Fields, I got to be feeling some type of way. You lead the team to a 4-2 record and you lose your starting job. So that's a tough pill to swallow there, but we're moving on. We're going to get into Proffet's fantasy headquarters. Proffet, I was out of it last week, man, and I didn't really get a chance to take notes on your fantasy plays. I know that they were very good the week before. Now, did you follow them up with a similar showing this week or what?
Yeah, there was a couple of blips out of the 9-2 to be exact. Roma Dunze was one of them. Right church, wrong pew. I had a feeling that the secondary receiver was going to light it up in that game, and it just so happened to be Keenan Allen, not a Dunze. But no, 7-2, 7-2 with the picks there, so not too shabby. And that being said, okay, 9-0, 8-1, I think the week before, and 7-2 the week before, guys. You know that I know what I'm talking about here. I'm doing something different. Okay, I'm just going to give you my picks. I'm not going to go into all details with them. Okay, unless I feel there's a need for it. Um, and this week I don't feel there's a need for it. Okay, uh, start your quarterback Justin Herbert Monday night. You got him on your team. You get him in your lineup. Running back Brian Robinson. He's supposed to be back on against a bad Carolina team. You got him on your team. Get him in your lineup. And wide receiver Chris Godwin. I mentioned it earlier. It's going to be a shootout in Tampa. You got him on your team. You get him in your lineup.
So
Larry,
who'd you say? Who was your quarterback?
Quarterbacks Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert, Brian Robinson, and Chris Godwin.
Correct. Okay.
What about your sit-ems?
My sits. Larry, I was going to share you up on the screen, but Sling Talk said something about it. My sit quarterback is Russell Wilson this week. People, do not get caught up in the hype here. They have no weapons there. Russell Wilson is not going to do it. 4-2 they are because of Justin Fields' legs. Russell Wilson does not have Justin Fields' legs. Okay. You got Russell Wilson. Don't even think about putting him in this week. Going up against the Jets, too, which is a pretty stiff defense there. My running back to sit is Bucky Irvin. I said it earlier. This is not going to be a run game. Bucky may get you 4 or 5 passes. Yeah, so if you're in a PPR league, you want to play him, but you're not in a PPR league. Do not put Irvin on your lineup. And my wide receiver is Michael Pittman. You don't want any parts of Michael Pittman this week. Okay, Richardson may be coming back.
That's a mistake.
They're going up against a tough Miami pass defense. Michael Pittman, keep him on your bench. Okay.
I made the mistake of playing Alec Pierce this week.
Yeah,
that didn't work out for me. I bought into the hype from last week.
Yep, and that kicked you in the butt for sure.
Yeah, sure did.
Okay, pickups. You must be becoming a little bit of a prophet there, Sling. You didn't talk about Jared Goff earlier because you might screw up something that I had to say about it.
There's no way he's under 70%.
It is almost impossible to believe, but on ESPN, he is sitting at 47.7% on rosters. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. Could not believe it when I saw it, but you have a chance to get Jared Goff on your team this week, going up against Minnesota's pretty porous pass defense. Get him in, pick him up and play him this week. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. Running back, and this play is only if Chane or Cheney, however you want to say his name, is out.
Devin Achin.
Yeah, that guy. Okay. Raheem Mostert, rostered 60%. Okay, going up against Indianapolis's run defense, which is terrible. Um, if Achin is not playing, pick up Mostert and feel safe playing them. And then my last one, the wide receiver at 73%, Lad McConkey goes along with the Justin Herbert play. They're going up against just a bad Arizona team defensively and offensively too. But Herbert should light it up Monday night, and McConkey should have a big game. Feel comfortable, pick him up, get him in your lineup. So
there it is.
Recapping that, we got Jared Goff, Raheem Mostert, and Lad McConkey for your pickups.
Lad McConkey having a nice little year for himself over there for Jim Harbaugh. So Jim Harbaugh had to go off with a little health scare this week. He said his heart rate got up to 250 or 300. He's got an arrhythmia, and glad that he was able to get that under control, because that's some scary stuff there,
to say the least. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
hey, but we're good.
I got one question. Yeah. I got a bunch of them. This is the best one, though, man. I got to share this one with you. Okay. It comes from Detroit Gibby, and he says, I need your help, Prophet. I have both Gibbs and Montgomery on my team. Who should I play this week? And my answer is, it's a tough call, Gibby, but if I had to choose, I would play Gibbs. I personally don't like either option this week, so if you have other choices, I might look elsewhere. Good luck against Minnesota this week. We got people watching this show, man.
Well, I tell you what, Mr. Gibby there. So you're going Jahmyr Gibbs over David Montgomery this week, huh?
Yeah. Well,
I don't think my wife will be.
Week last week, so
well, yeah. These guys are so back and forth with who's been carrying the load, but I feel like Montgomery's been producing, man. And I know Laura will be upset to hear that you're thinking that it's gonna be Gibbs week, so because she's been riding that Montgomery train. So we'll see. Like we always say, right? Time will tell, right? Prophet?
Time will tell. Well, it's like I said, like I told Jahmyr here. Okay. Well, I told Gibby, okay, I don't like either matchup. Yeah, Minnesota's got a tough run defense, but if I had to make a call, I made the call.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. But as always, it was a fun time visiting the Prophet's fantasy headquarters. He's usually pretty spot on. He was spot on 2 weeks ago, and pretty close this week. So if you got him in your lineup, or if you got him on your team, make sure you get him in your lineup. We're gonna move on to our final segment of the night, which is probably the one that most people are waiting for, because they want to learn how to make that money profit, or they want to learn how to make the profit. I guess they want to make the units. Let's not say money. They want to learn how to get those points, right? And listen, I'm dating back myself 2 weeks ago now. Did we update this?
I updated mine today.
Detroit, Minnesota?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I updated this. No. I updated mine. I don't think this is updated. The Seattle and Detroit over.
Seattle and Detroit over.
No, that's recapping 2 weeks ago. So.
Yeah, that's 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I updated everything with my totals and all.
Not on this. You didn't do this screen though, is what I'm saying. Anyway, I hit my Syracuse play last week, which was my only play, and I never came back in to get more in. So I got up to 12-16. Your balance after last week was 1488.
Yeah.
My balance after last week was 12-16. So for this week, I got a couple plays. I got a Saturday college football play. I got Toledo +3 over Northern Illinois. All right. I think the Rockets are playing well, and I think Northern Illinois has been on a little bit of a downslide ever since that big Notre Dame victory. I'm taking the points here. I'm putting 200 to win 378. So I'm going with a big bet there. I got a lot riding on those Toledo Rockets this week. And then my Sunday anytime touchdown scorer, I got Justin Jefferson, Saquon Barkley, and Bijan Robinson. Anytime touchdown scorer, 100 on that, and you can take this to the bank because it's as good as gold. 100 on that will return you 406 sweet units. So that's $300 or 300 total wagered. Brings my total down to 916. But hey, next week we'll be talking, and I'll be back up over $1,700 or 1,700 points there. Prophet, talk to the people about what you got going on this week.
Yeah, guys, mine's pretty easy. Okay, I got 100. I'm laying 110 on all three of my plays to bring back 210, and I'm going with 3 overs. And we discussed all 3 games, and it's crazy. I was sitting there looking at it today, and I don't know that it's ever happened, but Tampa Bay is, like I said, the 10th ranked defense. And the 3 games I'm going with, you got, 10th ranked run defense. You've got the top run defense, the 2nd and 3rd run defense, the 6th and 8th run defense, and the 10th run defense. Okay. I see a lot of the balls in the air, not the turkey balls there, Larry, like you know what I'm talking about. But these games, and they look too easy. They look too easy. And normally when things are, look too good to be true, they're not. And that's why I'm only playing 100 on each. Okay. I'm going over, where am I at here? I'm going over 50 in the Detroit, Minnesota game. I'm going over 47 in the KC San Fran game, and over 48.5 in the Baltimore Tampa Bay game. Again, 100 to bring back 210, and 110 to bring back 210 on all 3 plays.
Yeah, I don't really disagree with anything there. I mean, if I was playing on myself, definitely that Baltimore game. I love that over at 48.5. And I don't know. Like I said, it might be some people who are skeptical. It might be a little too enticing for some. It might be like they're trying to lure you in or bait you in. But I'm with you, Prophet. If it's there right for the picking, you might as well go for it. But that brings your total to excuse me, your total down to 1158. My total down to 916. We'll see where we are next week after the weekend's games. But yeah, I'm telling you, I got a good feeling about that Toledo game, man. So.
Well, Northern Illinois, that you hit the nail on the head with that team, and that really makes Notre Dame look even worse because they're losing to some bad teams.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but it hasn't been good, for them recently. So, like I said, Toledo, I know is, they're a decent little squad. So I think they got their stuff together, and they were, MAC runners up last year. I like the Rockets there, and I laid a decent little number on them. So, but that wraps it up already?
That wraps it, man.
An hour and 10 minutes, maybe a new record. But I can't say that I don't like or I don't dislike the quicker shows here, Prophet. We get in, we talk about what we need to, and we get out, and the people are able to get valuable information from a bunch of our segments. So
I like Boise this week.
Boise? Oh, Larry?
Yeah, Larry.
A lot of info. Hey, Mrs. Prophet. Hey, listen, if we can bring you a ton of info, and we don't need a lot of time to do it. So again, though, I will be back. We'll be back live next Wednesday. I should be fully returned to 100%. I'm still kind of laboring through it. I thought I was good until I started doing the show and heard my voice starting to go. So appreciate you guys sticking with us. All right. And we'll be back next week, and we'll have all the week's happenings for you again. As always, I'm Andrew Daly, my co-host, the Prophet himself, and this is the Sling and Proffet podcast. Thank you for joining us, everybody.
Write them votes in, profiteers.